All right. Showtime, the bottom right side here of the Katowice group stage match from the group of death up against Dark. Dark representing Talon Esports, Showtime representing Berlin International Gaming, and Dark taking his third base after Showtime blocks it. Showtime, one of the most generic German epitome of European players you've ever seen. Well, not really the epitome physically. Straight shoulders, rather well muscled. You'll see him in the gym at events. Handsome. Probably the best posture of any current pro gamer while he plays. Uses the core, one of the few top pros to do so. Plays one of the most generic defensive styles in the game, where he is just a master of defending. His nickname, Die Mauer, roughly translates to the wall. He is basically a man that wants to just defend and stop you, and then win in the later stages with that solid defensive macro opening. Dark, on the other hand, much like a drunk lemur. Which guy was it in Tekken that had like a drunken fighting style? Was that Lei, whatever his name was? It was him. Yeah, he basically can go. That's his standard stance, where he's just kind of rolling around drunkenly, be like, ugh, and then he'll just, you don't know if he's gonna headbutt you or what. Like, yeah, anyone who's watched the Jack Reacher, he's a fan of the Jack Reacher headbutt. You know, you think he's halfway through his smack talk, but then he always cuts it off, surprises you with a bloody headbutt, and says, yes, I'm giving myself a minor concussion each time, but I'm hitting your soft part of your head or face with the hard bit of my face, and therefore it's worth it because it always catches you off guard. And headbutts are brutal, man. Headbutting, there's a reason why it's banned in MMA and stuff. It is, you can hit them with an insanely thick, hard part of your skull, and you can crush face cartilage. You can do insane concussive damage. Obviously, you're always going to take a bit of that damage in return as well, but that is kind of how Dark plays StarCraft. Interesting analogy. Wasn't planning that one going into this, but I think it kind of fits. Stargate's 3/4 of the way done there. The Zergling. I love the way Dark always waits with these Zerglings, but notice Showtime knows this. So he cancels the shade. He's baited him in. Dark thinks the Adept shaded out. And beautiful turnaround, though. Great turnaround. And the other Adepts coming back as well. The Adepts having to split up to actually hunt these boys down. And great micro by Showtime. Finally gets rid of those Zerglings. But this has already kept the Adepts back way longer than normal. That being said, Dark has already pre-built way more Zerglings than he needs. Interesting. So he's got a quick link speed. I think he's going to look for the surprise surround on the Adepts. But Showtime, playing very safe, just leaves the Adepts at home, which means Dark is way lower on workers than he'd like to be. And he's quite supply blocked on 44 as well. The classic Dark supply block. One of his favorite moves. Inefficiency into I might as well all in and just destroy ya. Okie doke, guys. 16 drones in the main. Getting closer to 16. Wait. It's 4 minutes. He still doesn't have 16 in his third base. My lord. That's not particularly good. Does need to, of course, rally these drones onto the natural. They're only open. If the Oracle went there, that's such a dangerous transfer. Dark gets away with it. He doesn't even have good Overlord vision, guys. The Oracle gets only 2 drones, though, and almost dies, so great defense. But, guys, Dark only has an Overlord there. This whole area was wide open. If that Oracle flew to his natural, he would have had 4 drones in the open. That's so risky. But he gets away with it, and that's Dark style. You know, it's the drunken style that catches people off guard. There's always openings in a drunken style, but it's hard to predict where those openings will be. That's why it works so very well. There is a Spore Crawler in the natural now. And, oh, both Oracles deep in the red. That's unfortunate for Showtime. It's going to recall one. The other one's going to go down. Oh, my gosh. Only 4 hit points. Third Oracle arrives on the front, though. It's going to find some damage. Oh, not watching. Showtime pulls it back pretty quickly, though. Minimal damage dealt. Forge and Twilight are on the way. 3rd and 4th gas already up. And, of course, he's rallying probes towards that third base. Overlord speed. Overlord speed. Dark's going all in. Dark's going all in. Oh, God. Showtime. Watch out, mate. It is mass... Wait, what the hell is this? Mass Zergling plus Queen Drop without a Roach Warren? Guys, Dark's drunk. Dark's drunk, man. What is this build? It's a very late mass Zergling Queen Drop all in. Unfortunately for Showtime, he shades his Adepts in, and he's going to find out there is an insane amount of Zerglings. Hopefully that lets him realize what's happening. because this is going to be a scary... Yeah, shield battery goes down on the natural. He's already got 2 going up on the third. Oh, he's got cannons. Cannons are a hard counter to this. This third base is going to be unbreakable. Dark will have to go for the main and the natural. And actually, he's building a Nidus as well. It's a Nidus and a drop. I mean, if you're all in, you might as well go all in, right? You know, he's like, let's just reinforce as hard as we can. This is a crazy build. No Bailey Nest, no Roach Warren. Oh, this is a real big issue. Oracle hiding in the very top left. Stalker's pushing back that Speeder Lord. He sees it. He sees the drop. Battery goes down in the main, but it's a little bit late. He might want to build a cannon in here as well. These queens are going to cause problems. So cannon in the natural, 2 in the third, but it's the main base that's under threat. He does start building a battery there, and a battery and a cannon behind the main. I like that choice. Creep is spreading. He's going to try and Nidus the Lings into the main, but this is 6.5 minutes. It's so late. Lambo is out there going, what the hell? You meant to hit this timing at 4.5 minutes, not 7 minutes. Showtime has so much stuff. He's up 22 workers. Bailey Nest goes down behind it. Showtime absolutely waffle stomping this by the looks of it. As the cannons come up, the main is unassailable. The natural already has cannon battery in it. Very few stalkers have gone down. 1 stalker has died so far. Stalkers on the natural getting breached. He does have to fall back, but look at that stasis trap. Force fields his ramp for 20 seconds. That is a massive move, allowing the stalkers to march forward. I'd love to see him just click on those spine crawlers personally. I think that's the more important thing. But with Blink and +1, these stalkers are absolutely destroying. He's going to try and get on in there. Stalkers pulling back, trying to blink away. He's got 16 stalkers. 1 spine goes down, 2nd spine cancels, 3rd spine cancels. Dark is still doing nothing but building Zerglings. He's going to run away, but he's on 39 workers to 69. He's about as screwed as you can possibly be. Oracles will use Revelation. They get every single creep tumor in the first Revelation, which is fantastic. And Showtime, he's on 70 workers. His third's quite oversaturated right now, which is good for him. He's in a massive position now. He's going to go charge 3 more gateways, so he's going to 7 gates, 8 gateways, and a Templar Archives. Makes sense. If your opponent's on heavy Zergling, you want to get Archons. Unfortunately, his Oracle goes in and does die. Sees an Infestation Pit, though, so he knows pushing would be a good idea. Dark down 40 supply and 30 workers. I mean, this is already game over. There's no way. If Dark survives to 12 minutes, he's an actual god. And the funny thing is, we know Dark is like the best player at just knuckling down and surviving. And if there's someone you could do it against, it's probably Showtime, right? The wall may be hard to break, but he doesn't collapse on you very often. Very, very rarely does Showtime mobilize his whole army and go for a giant push. I mean, makes sense to do it right now. You've just got so much advantage. There's no way Dark can defend you and macro up at the same time. You have almost as many Stalkers as he has Zerglings. Hydras are on the way, but he can keep Dark on 3 base pretty much forever. 4th base will get cancelled. Robo's on the way as well. Psystorm. Zerglings over at that 4th base. Breaking out of the stasis trap. They're going to run away, trying to come back. Stalkers are deep on creep right now. Showtime thinking about finishing this game off. He's got the numbers. And I do think he could commit in there, but he's just waiting. He's going extra robos. He's going storm. He's got a fully saturated 4th base the moment that comes up. Stalker Zealot poking around. He's trying to not go into a bad engagement. It's so weird that I'm nervous right now for Showtime, but it's just because Dark is such a freak at making comebacks. But I mean, numbers-wise, Showtime could attack move. I don't think there's any way to lose this fight if he does attack move. He's got a lot of Zealots that could overwhelm that pretty darn easily. +2 attack against only a +1 melee upgrade. 4th base, as I said, fully saturated already. Showtime getting some High Templar to gather some Storm energy. His extra Robos coming down and Immortal production starting up as well. Hive is on the way, a Desperation Hive. So he can get out maybe a few Vipers and then try to probably go Lurkers, I would imagine is the play. Lurkerden's already done. Yep, it is. So 3-base Lurker against 4-base, what is a Gateway style, but is now transitioning into Immortal Storm. Immortal Storm does destroy Lurkers. Nice tags on this creep. Showtime definitely just taking his time here. 3 cannons and a battery going down. That 4th base just absolutely rock solid. How many Stalkers did he lose, by the way? 6 Stalkers this game. He lost almost nothing to that attack. Wow. And while being so much greedier than Dark as well. Impressive. Lurkers are morphing, 5 of them. Seismic Spines is on the way, Adaptive Talon's on the way behind it. I said if Dark makes it to 12 minutes, he's a god. Well, he's only a minute away from that. It's kind of hard to break through Lurkers with an army that still, for the most part, is Gateway Storm. As the Immortal Archon count grows, you can break Lurker positions a bit easier, especially if you flank them. But he sees the Lurkers now. Storm does clear some Zerglings. Second Storm not very effective. Oracle Tag comes in. The Lurkers are pretty well split, though. Showtime sees that army, but he's afraid of pushing into a concave of Lurker, Hydra, Ling. Nidus Worm behind the natural, shut down by the cannon. Now, a lot of people would say Showtime should have won the game by now. I would say he could have won. You could argue it's an easier way to win. You could also argue play to your strengths. Showtime's strength is a methodical, slow game. And that is how he wins. It's slowly denying creep, denying bases, and waiting for all that tech, those upgrades to kick in. +3 attacks about to kick in. He's got Stalkers in the north. Rest of the army coming south. If he could get in on top of this, I do think it would be amazing. Because he is maxed out. But as I say that, a Fleet Beacon and going to 4 Stargates is what starts up at home. He's going up 2 gateways to 10 gates. If he really wanted to kill him, he would have gone up in the gateway count much higher earlier. Oh, Stalkers blink forward on the right. He's breaking it. Oh, massive storms. Takes out a bunch of the Lurkers. A lot of the drones go down. And he's going to take out that base, I believe. The Immortal's looking great. The hatchery. Oh, nice transfuses. Save the hatchery. Good storms, though, all over Dark's army. 15 workers go down, continuing to trade efficiently against Dark. Oracle does fall, though. He's going to need to rebuild that. There's only 1 Oracle left right now. High Templar actually dies to Queens. How rarely do you see that interaction? Drones desperately trying to be rebuilt. Dark is trying to hang on. +1 armor, +1 plasma shields. Dark's going to have to withstand another wave. That one was not as good for Showtime. I love that he's getting the extra upgrades, though. His army will become unkillable by things like Zerglings and Hydras if he gets, say, +2 plasma shields, +2 ground armor. Makes you so much more survivable. Protoss players are used to having glass cannon armies, but they've realized those armor and shield upgrades are so essential. Raynor taking a map off Serral, I think opened a lot of people's eyes to the power of those upgrades. Playing a hybrid ground-air late game is a great way to do that if you have the upgrades. We've seen so many Protoss players play with only +3 attack, no ground armor or shields, and then draw the conclusion that hybrid armies ground-air mix doesn't work. Ground-air mix is the best way to play. Just a few carriers to complicate things for your opponent, force anti-air, and mostly a big mobile ground army catching the Zerg out of position. Zealot run-by is coming in, but Lurkers are well positioned so far. And those Zealots going to try to get into the mineral line. Ain't going to get much done. Bottom left side, though, another hatchery cancel and a drone kill. Not bad there for Showtime. And these Lurkers are mighty exposed. Oracle Tag comes in, and that's going to be it. Get out of there, Dark. Dark with a quick evacuate. Great choice. Pulls back to the high ground. Lovely move for Dark. Showtime doesn't want to chase up that ramp. Prism in the main to warp in 10-12 Zealots would be amazing. There's only 10 gateways right now, though. With the carriers on the way, Showtime feels no pressure to force the issue. He's like, dude, I'm on 5 bases going on 6. You can't move out of your little corner. I feel great. And I get it. Showtime just wants to methodically add those carriers, get to that next step, keep denying the 5th base. And as he does this, he's trading even or better than even. And that is great for him. Hatchery's going to build literally in vision of his army. Maybe not his best move. Oof. Hatchery kill. Dark can't afford these mistakes. 3 Hydras and a Queen in the main. Deflect the Warp Prism. We've got Immortals and a High Templar on the right side, getting ready to potentially push in there. I'd like to see him scoop around the top right and try to get in on that 3rd base in the back. +2 shields and +2 armor on the way for the ground. Air attack +1's done. Does need to remember to start air attack +2. Very important for these carriers. Stalker probes forwards, finds the Lurkers, pulls back, abducts! Taking out the Warp Prism, nicely done. 4 more gateways coming in. Still, no +2 ship weapons, a bit of an oversight for Showtime. We're used to Europeans when they're focused on air, never forgetting this upgrade, but because he's only building 4 carriers, Showtime does delay it a little bit. There we go, does remember now, starts that upgrade. Both sides starting to bank resources, but of course Dark is doing it of 67 workers with almost no gas bank. His army is 30 lurkers, 3 vipers, 9 queens, and 2 hydras. He has almost nothing that shoots up to deal with the carriers. 30 lurkers is a scary army, but he is looking to destroy the ground army with mass lurker. And whether or not he finds that fight is another story. The lurkers are getting broken through. High Templar take a little bit of splash damage, but not too much. And taking out up to 8 lurkers in total killed by Showtime this game. Carriers are finding an undefended set of lurkers here. They're going to just keep fighting. Lurkers are dropping. Spores trying to move over, but a lot of them are falling. Great Psy Storm there. Got to watch out for the abducts into the spores, though. Zealots in the top right going to try to come in. The lurkers are nearby, but they're unsieged right now. And look at that. Hydra's coming in. Oh, good feedbacks. Popping those Vipers. One of them, 2 of them go down. Zealots in the top right are mostly going down as well. Showtime's just shaving away at him. It feels like we're watching Showtime be a bit of a serial killer right now. You know, he's got Dark strapped to the table. Dark's trying to somehow break out of the handcuffs and the bindings that have him taped down, but Showtime's enjoying just slowly with his scalpel shaving off little peelings of skin. He's got his, pliers going after the toenails. He's got a disc sander, and he's going to slowly start just sanding off the kneecaps of Dark. Dark somehow withstanding the pain, looking for a big counterattack opportunity. 30 Hydras, 22 Lurkers. It's a fearsome amount of Lurker Hydra, but Storm, Rex, Hydras, and Lurkers don't do that well versus Immortal Carrier either. The Immortals are starting to go down, but Dark's Hydra count has already been minced. A mass Zealot warp in on the right, and finally, Showtime finishes off his opponent. Alright. Showtime with a great game 1. Maybe entering his serial killer arc, but he did methodically finish that game. Apologies for the colorful imagery. Maybe a bit much for some people. It was the way he was just, it felt like he was taking, so many players are like always looking for that brutal killing moment, and Showtime is always looking for the safest way to get ahead. It's just such an interesting focus, because I watch some guys who play a bit crazy like Hero, and I'm like, dude, just chill out and look for some advantages. Stop trying to just kill the other guy for 1 minute. And then with Showtime, I'm like, oh, stop just looking for advantages and just kill the guy. It makes me realize when I look at the 2 extreme ends of the Protoss spectrum, Showtime on the conservative and Hero on the aggressive gambly end, that I probably am somewhere in the middle. I think I'm more on the build advantage side, but I think it changes day to day, honestly. Let me know where you guys are on a 5 out of 10, smack bang in the middle. 10 out of 10 is a Hero on the aggressive scale. Showtime is a 0 on the aggressive scale. I think I'm like a 5, probably. Because it really depends on the day and the style I've been practicing. Because I think like a big thing that I do with my players, I'll try to play one style, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm too one-dimensional. I really suck at doing the other thing. Let's really focus on being a cheeky, waves of aggression, catching your opponent off guard with big dumb surprises guy. And I'll do that for a little bit, and then I feel like I'm a bit too, like my macros failing, and then I'll be like very defensive and standard for a while. So maybe I'm like an 8 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10, and I just vacillate between those two, where I'm like, oh man, I'm being way too aggressive. I'm like a 7 or an 8. Probably like a 7 or a 3 is probably where I kind of jump between those two. Probably not the most balanced player, which is why I'm bad and why I talk about the game rather than casting it. All right, Adept's coming forward. Very standard openings for both sides. He did have to take his 3rd base again, so the blocking of the expansion paying off for Showtime reasonably well. He hasn't found any of the famous Hero damage. Wait, 8 Lings are building, 10 Lings. Dark's doing, is he doing a Ling Flood? Oh, Spore Trick goes down. Oh, and he gets the Adept. Very nice start there for Dark, especially since he's building... Why is he building 15 Zerglings? Is he just going to go for it? Oh, that's a weird wall off. That's why. Is that why he did this? Because he's expecting to find a hole? But no, it's not going to work. 13 Zerglings is a lot to be building this early in the game. 14 total that he built. Showtime's so safe, though. He always builds 3 gateway units. So this sort of move for Dark doesn't find the damage. And Dark will be behind on workers as a result. Oracle comes out, is going to defend that 3rd base. Showtime taking a very defensive stance. 3rd hatchery. Almost finished. Dark not hitting supply blocks this game. We may have unlocked Mythical Fighter Dark. The guy that doesn't get supply blocked. He didn't build any Overlords on this next production round. I think that's okay if he builds them in the next 10-15 seconds. Ooh, Adept's getting surrounded. But new Oracle comes out and Showtime grabs 3 Zerglings. Not bad. Make it 4. It's a good catch. The other Oracle flies forward over the third. Remember what I was talking about with leaving 4 drones exposed on the third base last game? Showtime looks for that this time, but Dark does correct that mistake this time around and fixes it up. 5 Adepts coming forward to join the pressure. 2 Oracles on the front with a third about to pop. We've got 3rd and 4th gas, and of course the Forge and the Twilight go down at 4 minutes 40. Very straight up play for Showtime. Dark also showing pretty straight up play. He's going in Evolution Chamber right now. Looks like he's going to be playing an economic +1 melee style into Ravages most likely. Adept shading in. Oh, he's going to go behind the minerals. Oracles do take out a few drones, but the Spore Crawler and the 2 Queens defend, and I think those Adepts... Oh, taking out a few drones at least, so he does get 5 drones. But it is 5 Adepts that go down, and he doesn't kill that many Zerglings. So overall, the trading there, I think, favors Dark. Dark's going to be happy with that. Lair starts up as well. +1 melee on the way. This looks like a pretty straight-up macro game between the 2 players. However, Units Lost tab does favor Dark. The fact that he's about to take a worker lead as well, now that that Adept pressure's off his back. Ooh, as I say that, Oracles do get rid of 2 drones. He does take shelter over there. 3 Stalkers and an Oracle there. Of course, the Oracle can turn on its laser at any time, so those Zerglings not able to surround that. Overlord goes down. 4th Hatchery for Dark. Up. Started up on location. On location, well, that's only really a choice if it's Terran to not be on location, isn't it? Robo does go down. 2 gateways are up. Make it 3 and 4. Okay, going up to 5 gateways now. Oracle's coming in, just got 5 drones. Wow. 5 kills, 8 kills. Really well done with the Oracle harassment. Showtime maintains a worker advantage this deep in the game. And Hydras go down. So Dark is playing... Okay, so I would normally say Hydra Bane, but people don't really play Hydra Bane anymore. I think Dark is going to go Hydra Ling into Lurker Hive. He does this a lot more now. Skips the Roaches, skips the Banelings. He might add Banelings like very late along with his Lurker tech. But it's actually quite a frightening style, especially if, say, Showtime were to play Stalker Psystorm. Very weak against this. But he's playing Charge into Psystorm, a style which normally builds a few more Immortals. And Immortals are amazing, man. They're so good at dealing with Lurkers. Lurkers are very tanky, but they're armored units, and Immortals do massive bonus to armored. Showtime looks like he might be going for a Charge Archon pressure. Yeah, he's up to 8 gateways. No wall off on his 3rd, surprisingly. 4th base starts. Yeah, Archons are morphing. So he's going to go across with Archon Zealot and a Warp Prism and try to catch Dark off guard. This is really good for catching a Zerg that's building all the drones for their 4th, going up to 75, 80 workers. Dark's only building a few workers at a time, though, and he's already got 9 Hydras out, which means he can shut this down. If you've got like 10 Hydras with Groove Spines, which he's going to have, then that can just basically deal with Archon Zealot. The Archon Zealot has to dive on the Hydras, but then the Lings and the Queens get in there. The Queens can buffer for the Hydras as well. The Hydras can stutter step behind them. Showtime needs to realize what's happening. The moment he sees Hydras, he needs to get out of here. But look at this. Dark's looking for a bit of a wraparound. No, he's going to come in from the south. The Hydras are spotted. Showtime needs to get out. He can beat the Zerglings pretty hard, but the Hydras and the Queens are going to be another story. He's got to get up here to the right. Dark. Oh my god, Dark's just going to pounce. Showtime not pulling back in time. He's going to save the Archons. Good save on the Archons, but he loses the Zealots. He loses 2 Oracles have gone down this game as well, and that is expensive. Now he's got to get home. The Archons should be able to get home. He's trying to make High Templar. Psystorm does start. Immortal production is required. Why is Dark building a Roach Warren? He has a finished Infestation Pit. Why isn't he just going Lurker Hive? He's starting Roach Speed and Roach production at the 8-minute mark? Are you drunk, Dark? Who goes Roaches after Hydralisks? The only reason to do this is if they're going Colossus. Dark, seeing a heavy Zealot Archon army, has decided that he thinks he can win with Roach Hydra. Oh no, Showtime hitting his High Templar surrounded. Okay, he only loses 1. Good save there. But he does still lose 1 High Templar, which is, of course, he's got to... They just got their first Psystorm. That's one Psystorm down. So Dark has decided to do an old school rogue build, but he's doing it reactively. It is just a 3 base with a few drones on your 4th, mass Roach Hydra max out. It is a all-in. There is no follow-up. There is no Lurkadon. There is no Spire. There is no Hive. It is as all-in as it comes. But Zealot Archon sucks against this because there's so much ranged firepower with the Roaches tanking up front. Zealot Archon can't do much against it. Immortals, Cannons, Psystorm can wreck it. But he's built all of his cannons over on his 4th base on the left side. The first Psystorms are okay, but they're not that amazing. Good spreadies here from Dark. His Roach Speed not quite finished. Another Storm does land, takes out a few Hydras, but he's already used up most of his Psystorms. He's only got 1 left. Oh no, he's only got 1 left. Wait, two left actually. 1 does land on the Hydras, but he needs to be doing more damage. He just has no ranged firepower. No cannon battery on the natural is really hurting him. The High Templar only hits 2 Roaches without Psystorm. The Cybercore goes down. And remember what I said, Zealots are just not that useful right now. Massively up on income is Showtime. But who the hell expects a Roach Hydra all in at 10 minutes? Dark is just a madman. He puts all of his eggs in one basket. It's a basket that is normally filled with rotten eggs. But Dark is a man who can eat rotten eggs and somehow make them nutritious. I don't know if that's a great analogy. I'm almost certain it's the opposite of a great analogy, but I hope you're with me. Dark just surprised Showtime with one of the strangest moves in the book. And it's worked. It's paid off. He realized that the tech was a bit too late. Showtime was too committed to Zealot Archon. And he said, you know what? Just having a critical mass of Roach Hydra can do this. What a surprising play. And you know what? If he didn't do it, Showtime actually could have messed him up. Because Showtime has a fully saturated, almost, yeah, he has a 4th base, which was about to be fully saturated. He's transferring workers from the main. That's going to make it, yeah, fully saturated. And he masses cannon battery, thinking his 4th is going to be the soft spot. Oh, man, that's such a bummer to have 4 cannons and batteries there. 2 cannons and 2 batteries and 3 batteries here. And none of it be part of the combat area. Stasis traps layered backwards. And Dark's like, no, I'm going for your natural, dude. What did you expect? And Showtime's like, really? But people always attack the 3rd or the 4th. Dark's like, not me, bro. I know where you guys build your static defense. I'm not going to attack there. Good instincts by Dark. Gets the killer instinct. Ties up the series. Takes us to game 3. All right, Site Delta to decide the series. Showtime has had some epic games on this. And oh, he's about to get hatchery blocked. Or is he? Oh, Dark. As long as you pull another probe instantly, you're fine. And he gets... Oh my god! Dark messes up the hatchery block so badly. He not only doesn't get the hatchery down, but he also doesn't get a hit down early enough to fight the probe away. And then doesn't manage to delay it at all, really. Meanwhile, his spawning pool... Oh my god, his spawning pool started at a minute 26. 12 seconds late compared to a normal spawning pool. Ooh, this is an awkward opening for Dark. I think he's going to take a quick 3rd hatchery because his build is so jank now. This is such a janky opening, man. Showtime, 2nd gas, 2nd pilot on the way. Very straightforward from here. And you really see the difference in the opening efficiency between the 2 players where Dark kind of does random stuff and he misses details and Showtime is so on point. The thing is, we saw Showtime take forever to finish off game number 1, not having the killer instinct. Dark always shows killer instinct. I mean, game 1, Dark's build order was one of the most scuffed things I've ever seen. That Queen drop Ling Flood Nidus Worm. But, yeah. Stargate's on the way. I'm surprised Dark didn't build a faster 3rd hatchery. You can see he's got 350 minerals right now, but... Did he just misplace this as well? That's 1 space to the right. I'm not crazy, right, guys? That should be there. That's clearly way too much. Dark. My god, he's drunk, mate. To be fair, jet lag is actually a factor at these tournaments. We'd been there for a few days, me, Dark, and the other guys at this point, coming from a similar time zone. Slightly less of a time difference to what I had, but... Can't remember when this was played in the day. I think it was one that's late at night, which is when you're usually pretty groggy. Hatchery does look fine on the minimap, that's true. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that is correct. Maybe I'm imagining things. Pig imagining things confirmed. Ooh, Adepts are going to shade in. 3 drone kills. This is pretty nice. Oh, if he can get 1 more, that'd be huge. Oh my god, Showtime getting big damage. 4 drones. Nice. Good start, man. Very good start. 4 drones, mining time. Gets a Zergling as well, not too bad. Second gateway's on the way, new Adept in the wall off, and we will see another Adept and an Oracle guarding that third base. Extra pylon at the third, going down before starting that, and already has a Shade going into the pocket to try and defend. Oracle turns on the laser preemptively, defends the probe. Does secure the third base. Oh! Gets one more Zergling before finally turning the laser beam off. Second Oracle comes out. No rally point for that for Showtime, oddly enough. Still no rally point as well. Usually you'd want to rally that to the third base. Oracle flies over the third, doesn't find anything. He might loop back in for that single drone. One queen doesn't damage you very quickly. Bit of paint chipped off the Oracle by the queen. 32 drones to 42 probes! Oh my gosh, that's a big worker difference this early. Oh my lord. Okay, Dark really needs a smooth next minute or two of this game. Because after that opening, and then the Adept's getting 4 drones, he's definitely behind. If he could surround these guys, though, could be big. He's only got 10 Zerglings, so he's going to have to wait for them to shade in. If he goes and surrounds them right now, the Adepts just beat them in a front-on fight. He needs the Queens to help out. 4 Overlords building a massive supply block on 66. The Adepts are going to take out 2 drones with a very dangerous shade in. But 2 Adepts do survive after taking out a few Zerglings. Oracle tag to clear part of the creep. That Adept Shade should cancel, and indeed it does. Forge and Twilight coming in. 3rd and 4th gas. Very standard follow-up for Showtime, as you would expect. Dark down 3 workers. Somehow he's not that far behind on workers. Makes me think maybe Showtime missed a tiny bit of worker production towards his third base. And look at that, loses an Oracle for 2 drones. Dark's defense is pretty good despite the early chaos he's been put under. Of course, they do call him the Master of Chaos. Dark is one who's always out there sacrificing blood for the blood gods. War at all times in every Dark game. Adepts, not going to care too much about a few queens. It's the Zerglings that will stop them. And he does get 3 drones. Dark goes back to mine slightly too early. It's kind of weird because you're trading inefficiently in terms of direct cost to Showtime, but you're also keeping Dark's economy very low, but not low enough. I think this is good for Dark, this opening. Because you've traded so many Adepts. 6 Adepts and an Oracle. If he can find 5 or 6 more workers, it'll be worth it. Oh, he gets the Oracle out. That was slick. Oh, no, he doesn't. I thought that was dead. I thought that Oracle was going to be able to get out of there. He does get 6. I wouldn't mind him doubling around for the drone. Gets it. 7 workers. But he's lost all of his Oracle control. He's only got 1 Oracle deep in the red. His gases are up. Lots of Blink coming in. Templar Archives going down as well as a Robo. So it looks like Showtime probably wants to play Stalker's Storm, and Dark, on the other hand, is happy to gamble on Spire because he's killed 2 Oracles. He knows there's not much scouting. He's like, dude, you're not going to be able to scout very well. Your Oracle's going to be busy looking for big Roach move outs or anything like that. Did he see any tech, by the way? No, he didn't see any tech. It's just an Evo and a Roach Horn. Spire is almost halfway done. 5th base going down. Big sign of greed there. You know he was going for a 4th in the north. Now you see a 5th. Overseer, seeing no sign of him being ready for that. Blink wasn't available. The Stalkers can maybe kill that Overseer from there, though. Ooh, 2 hit point Overseer. And I think it barely is out of range. Yeah, nice. Blink's poking the front. Zergling's only 1 or 2 goes down to the Blink. It's 8 gateways right now. So Showtime, I'm kind of like, what is the play? Okay, so he goes Stalker Storm, but it's into Immortals as well. And charge. So he's not overcommitting to Stalkers. This is basically proper defensive macro. Problem is he needs to see what's going on. He still hasn't seen this gas has been taken. He hasn't seen the Spire. On the other hand, he hasn't seen many Roaches. And we've got to watch this from Showtime's viewpoint. Because we can see Mutalisks are about to pop. If he doesn't see them till they arrive, he's in huge trouble. Wait. Hold that thought. He's building a cannon and a battery. Where is that? Oh, on the 4th base. 3rd base, very safe. 4th base, bit of cannon battery support, but no cannon battery in the main is a problem. Few Zerglings taken out by Stalkers as they bully them back. A single cannon in the main will help. 1 in the natural as well. He's got the beginnings of the defense required to block the first Mutalisk wave. The problem is it's air weapons and mass Mutalisk. You need Phoenix against that. He starts building Phoenix. He must realize, or at least be wary of the threat. He's building a Phoenix right now. He's going to need a lot more than one Phoenix, though, if he wants to deal with this. Normally, 2 Stargates and a Fleet Beacon are pretty much required. Muta's going into the main base. The probes pulling back there, but of course, they are getting focused down. The cannon getting ignored. Showtime maybe should have ran these probes to a different base. Stacking them up there, not really helping right now. Stalker's a little bit slow to get in, and 17 workers on the first wave. Showtime taking massive damage. Second Stargate goes down. Phoenix are building. Over at the third base, we are seeing he's vulnerable. If you can storm, but you got to be careful because that will kill your probes as well. 22 probes have gone down. Massive initial damage for Dark. That being said, Showtime has 4 bases and a lot of static. If he can resaturate the main, which I think he's rallied all these bases there, he has, and get the 4th saturated without taking any big future damage, if he can get to like 170, 180 supply, Showtime should be good. But that is a big if right now. Cannon, battery, and a few stalkers on that 4th base. Keep the workers safe. Good movement by him so far. Overseer's going to goop the +2 at 99%. Delaying it by 30 seconds. Lovely. Really, really, really well done. More Phoenix building as well as Immortals right now. He's worried about some sort of like Roach follow-up, I guess. Ground army follow-up. He's got to just keep his army split. That's the problem for Showtime right now. He needs High Templar here, High Templar up here, and his ground army to be split. Mass Link coming in. Psy Storms looking absolutely fantastic all over the Mutas and the Zerglings. And Dark goes for what I would call a YOLO. Not a technical move. He basically says charge and hope they're not ready for it. Showtime was ready for it. Showtime storms him back and buys himself a valuable 30 seconds. Showtime is back up to 80 workers. He's not mining gas here yet. He does need to put those workers on gas. There we go. He fixes it up. He's got a few cannons and batteries, but there's 27 Mutalisks out. He's only got 4 Phoenix, no range upgrade, no air attack. And now that Corruptors are coming out, he will not have an air army that can compete. He needs to go either 3rd Stargate Fleet Beacon or just focus on the ground army and split up units to defend. But if he wants to do that, he needs a High Templar and an Archon in the main, a High Templar and Archon on the 4th, and a High Templar and an Archon on the 3rd. If he doesn't have that splash damage everywhere, the Mutas will be able to dive in, pick off key units, and dance away before the splash damage gets there. Showtime is a little bit too clumped up. I do like the Observer coverage. He sees the army coming in, but this is what I'm talking about. He's going to get on the probe line again. Showtime out of position momentarily, but that's going to cost him. He's afraid of getting jumped on because of that crazy charge that Dark did. But he's actually just going to have to split his army up because of the mobility advantage of the Mutalisks. And once again, all the High Templar on the top. He needs to spread these boys out. Showtime, a little bit too control group dependent right now. This is where a guy like Hero sometimes has advantages over a guy like Showtime. Showtime is so reliant on using his 9 control groups, 10 control groups that he uses with the core. But he needs to like just start manual controlling this. Zerglings coming in on the north. Cannon battery aren't going to have time to get up. The Zealot warp in. Hold the choke point momentarily. In the south, nice storms. Buys himself a little bit of time, peppers those units. The High Templar in the main goes down though. Second High Templar has enough for storm. This High Templar chasing the Mutalisks, doing okay. He needs a High Templar or an Archon up here, I swear. Showtime's doing good right now, man, but he's just got to weather the storm. Against a guy going Muta Corruptor, all their gas is in early game / mid game units. So you've just got to survive. And that is Showtime's entire goal. Air weapons, shields, Phoenix range. He's going for more gateways as well. Dark has the corner bases, but he hasn't really started mining them just yet. He's only on 76 workers. He never built a giant 85 or 90 probe economy. There is massive urgency for Dark to trade. He's only just started the Baneling Nest. His +2 flyer weapons is almost done. Dark needs to find something and find it soon. He can't keep wasting time in this game. Showtime's going to deny the top right. I don't think that's worth throwing this army away, though. This move did not make a lot of sense for Showtime. He kills a hatchery that was meaningless, throws away 2 Archons, an Immortal, and a pack of Zealots. Unless he wanted to clear that supply up, which I can't imagine. He's replacing it with Zealot run-bys right now, which is not the best thing here. I mean, they're not the worst, as there's not much on the ground to defend. If he can hide them and surprise him, they could do big damage. Lots of Phoenix are out. They've got Phoenix range +2 air weapons on the way. So he's going 15 Phoenix plus Storm plus Stalkers. No Archons in the mix. Now, this is the strange decision Showtime's made, where I would be much higher on the Archons because they offer you a tanky A-move unit that also does splash damage without you even having to micro it. Zealots do come in. This is a lot of units being thrown into the meat grinder. Showtime style is meant to be way more efficient, and yet it's actually Dark who's shown a bit more efficiency than him, surprisingly enough. These probes need to run away. Nope, Stalker's defense is good. 8 drones go down. The hatchery does survive. Dark's way more efficient in this style that is not meant to be efficient. And he's trying to transition Ultras, which makes a lot of sense. But he's still got to find a way to make Mutacorruptor effective. Archon caught out. Great catch. Remember, Mutalisks have rapid regen. They will heal from that Psystorm pretty quickly. He's going to try and pick off some base and then maybe run away. Stalker, Phoenix, Storm should be more than enough for this army, but he jumps on top of the Storm, landing all over his own Stalkers. The Corruptors are fighting the Phoenix. The Phoenix are not shooting the Mutalisks right now. They need to be shift-clicked on the Mutalisks if you want them to be effective. But the Phoenix get pushed back by the Corruptors. The Mutalisks forcing the Storm all over the Stalkers and actually having enough firepower with those +2 Mutalisks to take him down. The Oracle goes down as well. And oh me, oh my, Dark cleanses Showtime's army with nothing but Mutalisk, Corruptor, and the aid of his own Psystorm. The way Dark spread his Mutalisks out as well was really well done against that Storm. And actually surprising that he was able to take that army down. But part of it is the Phoenix need to shift click on the Mutas, but Showtime did not want his Phoenix to get stormed and taken down too quickly. So he pulled the back, but because they were fighting Corruptors the whole time, they were doing a tiny fraction of the damage they should have. 11 Ultralisks coming in right now. Showtime has a path back into this game, but he needs to build Immortals and he needs to make them now. He has 3 Robos. He could start making those Immortals, but he needs to get out of here. He can't be attacking right now. He's making Stalkers. He can't be making Stalkers. He's got to go home and make Immortals. But of course, this is the vision of Showtime. And this is the vision of Dark. Dark sees everything. Changeling on the army. Great Aspire on the way. He's rebuilt that top right corner base. Dark has less workers right now, but it doesn't matter because he's been trading better all game long and he's going to continue to do so. The cannons will defend the Mutalisks on this base. Looks like the Mutas are just going to get thrown away to clear up supply. Dark not even watching that. Corruptors on the bottom are going to pee on the 5th base. Oh, Dark unzips his fly. High Templar, you need to storm those Zerglings, which he does get a decent storm off. Going to try and start a step away. The Corruptors do pee down the Nexus. Mutalisks rotate to the natural where they start to pick off 1 or 2 probes. The Archon's trying to get out. Immortals are building 2 at a time. The Stalker Archon trying to get back to the safety of these bases. With no battery overcharge available, that is a massive army of Ultras. I don't know how you deal with this without any Immortals. Dark. His Ultras are starting to thin out. He hasn't done critical damage to the probes just yet, but oh my god. Hungry, hungry Ultras! Hungry, hungry Ultras! He starts to chew up those probes that are long-distance mining. 16 workers go down. Massling Ultra in the north as well. These Ultras pretend to run away in the south. They turn around and go immediately back in. They will start fighting those Stalkers and clearing them out. Meanwhile, Lings have breached their natural. The Cannon Battery and the Immortal there trying to defend. Stalkers trying to defend over here as well, but they are getting overrun by the 3-3 crack Zerglings. Oh, the Ultra Ling from all sides. Dark, the Wizard, has done it with Mass Mutacorruptor. An army where when they get enough Storm, they get enough Phoenix. It seems like there's no way you can take a good fight, and somehow Dark took a positive fight. I have no words. I said Showtime should pretty much have the army he needs, and yet Dark wins the game. That fight in the bottom on that 5th base was something special. So notice, he kills the only Archon before the fight starts, and his Mutalisks have mostly... They're not... Most of them didn't get hit by the Storm. The ones that did still have 80 life. And we've got to realize, where is the supply? 4 Zealots there. His army supply is just down right now. He's morphing another Archon. Because he just threw away a lot of Zealots, Showtime is simply a little low on supply. And Phoenix, guys... If you want to fight Mutacorruptor with Phoenix, you need to either just shift-click them on the Mutalisks, or... Which is kind of awkward, because 15 Mutalisks way more than one-shot the Mutas, but hopefully... they desync their shots enough that they kind of split fire, or you move past the Corruptors so that they focus the Mutas. But without the Archons, if he had 3 or 4 Archons in here, I think this completely changes this fight. But let's watch it in slow-mo. So the Mutacorruptor is incredibly clumped right now. First Psystorm is big, all over these Mutas. But notice the Phoenix aren't doing anything. So let's watch the Phoenix part of the fight. Watch the Phoenix. They're just shooting Corruptors. Pulling back, shooting Corruptors. Some of them aren't fighting. They're shooting Corruptors. So they do nothing. And then what is the actual ground army? It's like 20 Stalkers, right? which Stalkers just aren't that good. They have +2 attack, +1 shields versus +2 air attack, so it's not like their upgrades are that much better. It's also not that many Stalkers. Oh, he has a big pack in the main. Oh, he has 8 Stalkers and a full energy High Templar in the main that aren't part of this fight. And a Stalker there. And a Stalker up here because he just defended that little Baneling run by. And 4 Zealots up here. So there's so much army supply that's not in the fight. And he's not maxed out as well. Oh, but Showtime just felt like, oh, I need a 5th base. He's going to transition to the late game. You know, even if Showtime just gave this base up, added a few more Archons, I think he could have taken a later 5th and been in a good position or a decent spot. Because Dark just has such an army that should be so inefficient. But look at this. He spreads the Mutas out pretty decently, avoids some of the worst of the Psystorms, takes out the Stalkers, and because the Mutas aren't shooting, I mean the Phoenix aren't shooting the Mutalisks, they just don't die. So the Phoenix end up doing nothing in this fight. The Storms damage a lot of units but don't really kill anything, and the Stalkers just disappear. That's a bit of a disaster. Storming your own Stalkers is definitely worth it in this scenario, because obviously if the Mutas are flying on top, Mutas only have 120 life, you have 160. It is worth it. But if you can then also blink back, that's going to be amazing. The problem is, remember, he initiated this fight by blinking into the battle. Whereas if you storm your own units and then blink back, it's actually kind of amazing. And then you storm them a second time, and at that point the Mutas are basically dead. But he blinked forward to try and defend the base. He thought, oh, I've got the big scary army, I just have to chase you away. And Dark somehow read this fight correctly and just took an amazing battle. Really sick play by Dark, dude. Really well played. Not many players would have found such an efficient fight this deep into the game, but look at that unit's loss tab and tell me Dark isn't a magician. GG, well played. Dark takes out Showtime in the group stage, and what an impressive victory. GG.